Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the Jon Gaunt Show at 2 today. There may be one later as well. The title of this is Starmer, Just Copy Trump. Build UK Alligator Alcatraz. That'll stop the migrants. I want you to join in. If you've got an opinion, I'd love to hear it today, please. Feel free to write a comment at the bottom of the screen. So, you've all seen it on the TV. Alligator Alcatraz. Trump, in typical Trumpian style, has built this in the Everglades swamps. I'm not suggesting we're doing that, but if he can build a 3,000-bed migrant detention centre in just 8 days, why can't we? And I reckon it would go a long way to stopping illegal immigration. Let's have no more endless debates, no excuses. We should just follow Trump on this. We're wasting £8 million a day putting illegal migrants into hotels with squeezy soap. I say this is a waste of money. I say an Alligator Alcatraz could solve the migrant crisis. We're talking proper UK politics here. My name's Jon Gaunt. And, of course, I'm asking Starmer to copy Donald Trump. We could easily convert empty warehouses. Every town in the country has got these. Why can't we do it? Old retail units, or even put up temporary structures for rapid migrant holding centres. Why not? They're just lying empty. Put tents in there as well if you want. Get the army involved. This would give us faster processing and then faster deportations of people who shouldn't be here. No frills, no nonsense, still humane, but put them into migrant detention centres. They are all illegal because they've entered our great country without permission. 20,000 since Christmas. We're spending $8 million a day just on hotels to fat cat hotel owners. This is ludicrous. It's unsustainable. And if we did put them in places like this, and if we videoed them and put them up on YouTube, don't you think it would put people off? Because from what I'm seeing, they think they get to England and everything will be fine. They think they'll get a job. Well, they're right. Deliveroo and other companies like that have been using them. They say they didn't realise. Yeah, that's the Starmer PR excuse, isn't it? But the bottom line is we just change it. So if you're found then when you're in one of these centres using one of those bikes and delivering food and picking up £1,000 a week, which is what's been happening, then I'm afraid it's an immediate deportation. No appeal, no nothing. We make that clear when we first put them in the centre. You break the law, you're going straight back. I can hear you now, though. Gaunty, we can't do that. It's all right for Trump. He's in America. We can do it. We just need to get out of the European Court of Human Rights. It'll take time. But we could also say, no, up yours. We're just doing it. We could just be unilateral like Trump. Trump doesn't mess about. We spend too much time wringing our hands and arguing and giving fat cat lawyer leeches, as I call them, loads of cash to stop us securing our country. And it is now, we do all this under a national emergency because it is now a national emergency. 500, 600 people a day is unsustainable. We now know from people like GB News that some of them are also promoting jihadist material, videos. We're importing terrorists. They're not all terrorists, but you follow what I'm saying. Sexual crimes have gone up. There's a report today that more foreign-born people are more guilty of vicious, horrid crimes. Why are we importing them? Well-controlled managed migration has been brilliant for this country, but we cannot allow this free-for-all to continue. And Starmer says, oh, wait, we're getting a deal with France. We can't wait for France. So listen to what I'm saying. Let's take over the old big sheds on the outskirts of town. Let's put the migrants in there. Let's video them in there. Let's show that they're not going to get squeezy soap and a spa and a beautiful hotel anymore. They're going to effectively sleep in bunk beds in a warehouse. If they're lucky, we'll put them inside a tent as well. I've had enough. Have you? And we need to get out of the European Court of Human Rights. Here's the bare figures. Since Christmas, over 20,000 illegal migrants have entered the UK. We've had enough, haven't we? Every poll I look at says that immigration, particularly illegal immigration, is the number one issue for you and I, the voters. That's why Nigel Farage and Reform UK are seeing such a rapid growth. People want action, not more talk. So whilst Keir Starmer's involved in another load of BS and arguing with Rachel Reeves and not telling us the truth, can we get on to the real agenda? How we're going to do or deal with the migrant crisis. If you've got a view, please put it up. I think it's fairly simple. One of the major parts must be to get them out of hotels. And we can do that. We've got the British Army. We're brilliant at it. We've even got a budget. If we're paying £8 million a day, we've got some money we can spend on this. We've got to get them out of the hotels, and we've got to send a clear message. You are not going to get an easy time if you come to Britain, because at the moment, that's what they think is going to happen. And in France, I saw the pictures the other day. They're staying in kind of warehouses anyway, or tents. So they're not going to want to leave that to come here to do the same. And then we have to cut all the nonsense about giving them wigs, giving them cars, giving them passes, and all the rest of it. I've got nothing against the individual. I understand why they want to better their life. But don't tell me these are all fleeing persecution. That's almost a bigger lie as everything that comes out of Starmer's mouth. I'm going to talk about Starmer at 6:30 on my other podcast, by the way. And because today what's happened is just a disgrace with Rachel Reeves. We'll talk about that later on in the next podcast. But I'm saying Florida built a 3,000-bed migrant detention center in just 8 days. They didn't build it from scratch. It's an old airport, but effectively that's what they did. They called it Alligator Alcatraz because Trump says there ain't no escape. I'm not suggesting we don't even be that severe, but I am suggesting it's got to be a deterrent. This lousy Labour government said no to Rwanda. I had doubts about that as well, to be honest. I didn't think it would work. However, there's no deterrent now. So they just keep coming. So the question I'm asking you is, should Britain do the same? Could Keir Starmer copy Donald Trump's tough tactics to finally solve our country, the UK's, out of control migrant crisis? Because I'm telling you, I don't see any other ideas. This is a big idea. We're going to take over. I mean, in Coventry, there was an IKEA store. Fill it up with migrants. I don't want to pay for them to stay in hotels. Do you? And also the hotels, loads of people have lost their jobs. And another thing that's got to happen, you can't have the security guards coming from the same community. The stories going around that they're actually illegals themselves. And then you've got them using the kitchens. They're not only delivering for Deliveroo and companies like that, they're actually cooking the food in the hotels. So they're getting full bed and lodging. It's not very nice, I know. In a 4-star hotel. And then they're screwing another £1,000 a week on the black market on those bikes. And politicians are pretending they didn't know this was going on. We've got to get a grip. I'll come to your comments in a moment. The UK is spending, it's unbelievable. I keep checking this every time I write it to make sure it's correct. We're spending a staggering £8 million a day, every single day. That's their own accounts that comes from. And indeed, that's about 12 months out of date. So it's probably more than 8 million a day at the moment. Putting up illegal migrants in hotels right across the United Kingdom, upsetting communities left, right, and centre. Since Christmas, as I say, over 20,000 illegals have come across the channel, that dangerous crossing over the channel. Most of them young men, of fighting age, all coming over in the boats. Meanwhile, Donald Trump now in Florida, he's saying, I've had enough. I've absolutely had enough. And he's flying them in, bussing them in from wherever they get into America. And they're going to go to this detention center, Alligator Alcatraz. In 8 days, he built it, or they built it. 8 days. It's very basic. It's very tough. But will it work? 3,000 beds. They have put in barbed wire fences as well, watchtowers, armed security. It's definitely not a luxury hotel. But then, if you've come to our great country, why should you be able to stay in a hotel, work in the black economy, and come and go as you please? And that intimidates people. And there have been attacks on the indigenous population. I'm not saying all these people are rapists and muggers. Of course they're not. Most of them are probably decent people, just trying to better themselves. However, there's one thing you can't take away. They're all illegal. So I come back to this question. Why are we still paying millions a day, 8 million, for 4-star hotels when we've got empty warehouses? The big old Toys R Us places. You know the sort of things I'm talking about. Old shopping centres. Thousands of banks left, right and centre. And huge plots of unused land right across the United Kingdom. Let's build these centres fast. We did it during COVID with the Nightingale hospitals, which in the end, thank God, we didn't really use. But we can do this. We could then process the migrants faster. We could deport them quicker if they've got no right to stay here. Problem solved. I wrote this earlier and I put it up on one of those chat things to see whether they tell me about the SEO and the rest of it. And basically they said, oh, it's a bit extreme and I don't think you can do it. That's because that's the prevailing culture in our country. Oh, I don't know if we could do that. Donald Trump has proved if you're willing, you can do it. And as I say, you'd have to tie this in with saying anyone caught working illegally, cash in hand, delivery apps, they would face instant deportation, no second chances. And also, I would fine the companies massively. I'm talking tens or hundreds of thousands of pounds. They wouldn't dare do it again. It's time to get tough on the migrants. It's time to get tough on the people who are employing the illegal migrants. And it's time to get the UK back for us, the people of Britain. And our politicians, all of them, apart from Farage and Reform, they're too lily-livered to do it. They haven't got a can-do attitude. They'll think of every bloody excuse in the book not to do it. But I've had enough. Have you? Right, let's get to some callers. Well, they are callers, aren't they? Some opinion. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. 14 people have pressed the like button. If you like it, press it now, the like button. If you're listening on a podcast, don't forget you can always come and watch it on YouTube. My channel is Jon Gaunt TV, and the best way to find out what I'm doing is to join that channel, to subscribe, completely free. Just go to YouTube, look up for Jon Gaunt TV. You'll see it, and the first thing it says is, do you want to subscribe? It's not a catch. It's not going to try and get any money out of you. It's just so you become a full-time listener, so to speak, and then you'll get notifications when I'm going to be on. I should be on again tonight at 6:30. We'll see what the weather does. Jackie Ward, she's going to be our first person today. She's on Facebook. I'm in total agreement with you, John. These migrants live better than me. Well, I'm not sure if that's totally true, but they've certainly got quite an easy life. And that's what we've got to change. Adam on Twitter or X It says here he's reposted the stream. Yeah, if you can do that, that really helps me. So thanks very much indeed for doing that, Adam. Mate, it's the Kalagi plan. Oh, here we go again. This is on purpose. It's no conspiracy. Well, you're just expressing a conspiracy, Will. But that's up to you. But it's a diversion. We've got a clear and present danger now. We've got to find out why our politicians won't stop it. I understand all that thing about population replacement. I don't actually agree with it. And I just think you end up going down a rabbit hole that doesn't actually progress us. All we want of a government, the first duty, Starmer said it himself the other week, is, and he's gone back on it now, is the protection of its citizens. So securing our borders is the first thing to do. So, but we've got to get rid of the people who are here already. Are you with me or against me? But let's not go down conspiracy holes. Yeah. Jackie Ward says £1,000. No, sorry. Will Quarry says Jackie Ward, £1,000 a week is mental. Well, it is, but that's what these companies are paying these blokes, mostly blokes, to get on their bikes and walk. Alison Cornell says, yes, do it now. So she's in support of me. Jan on X says Starmer won't come out of the ECHR. As long as he's in power, nothing will change. You're being negative, Jan. We've had Rwanda under the Tories, but Starmer did everything to block it. Yeah, and he cancelled it on his first day. That's true. The man is a weak lefty idiot. Everyone that comes into this country illegally is breaking the law. Jan, I agree with you totally. But I think we can force him. I think we can because the polls are so strong now for reform. He's trying to play to the reform voters. The problem, of course, at the moment, Jan, he's got another 4 years. He knows he's toast. After this Rachel Reeves thing, I mean, today he's lied again. Evidently, there was no spat. Evidently, he didn't see that she was crying next to him. Then he says, I've worked in lockstep with her. We're that close. Well, I don't know about you. When you come into the room and you suddenly feel the tension, the missus has fallen out with you. It's like a TV. You got pictures, but no sound. You've done something wrong. You just got to find out what it is. Well, it's like that if you've worked with somebody for a long time, isn't it? For normal people. He's lying. He is an absolute, I was going to say professional BSer, but he's not professional. He's an amateur. If you've not seen the news today, watch it. I'm going to be talking about it again later tonight, but thanks for your comments on that. Mick Condon Davis says, get them out of the hotels and stop giving them money, phones, freebies. Simple. Also, take fingerprints when they come here. Illegally ban them from the country for a minimum of 10 years afterwards. That's when we deport them. Yeah, well, that would be very sensible, Mick. Thank you for your comments. If you're enjoying the show and you'd like to help me out, you could always donate a few quid. You can do that while I'm on YouTube. You just click that little $sign at the bottom of the screen and you can donate a quid, 2 quid, whatever you want. Some people donate a 10 quid, 100 quid, whatever you want. Or go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. And then you can buy a coffee or a beer. That starts at £5 a time. Got to say a big thank you to, I've forgotten your name now. You bought me 3 this morning, 15 quid. Thank you ever so much. And it's not the first time you've done it. I'll mention you in the next show. I do apologise. So let's look at the public mood. See whether Gaunty is in tune with them more than Starmer. Well, you don't need me to tell you that the public have had enough. Poll after poll shows immigration is now the number 1 issue for UK voters. Just look at reform. Their surge in the polls proves it. People are sick of weak, lily-livered, hand-wringing excuses. They want action. The question is, will Starmer get tough? No, he won't. Will he take a page from Trump's playbook? No, he won't. Or will we just see more dithering and excuses from the same old parties, the Labour and the Conservatives? We have got to get tough. We should have immigration into the country, but it has to be managed. You can't be able just to get into a dinghy and come across the channel. And if you do that, we should make it uncomfortable for you when we get here. So I'm not suggesting that Britain should build exactly the same as what Trump has done in Florida with Alligator Alcatraz, but I am saying we need to get somewhere near that. I am saying that within a week we should get everybody out of the migrant hotels. Absolutely out of them. And if those firms say, well, we've got contracts, we should simply say, you've made enough, sue us if you fancy. It is time to say enough is enough and get serious on the migrant crisis. Keep your comments coming in. I'm going to be reading and replying to as many as I can as the show goes on. But don't forget also to press the like button and press the subscribe button so that you know what is happening. The big question then, should the UK build a get your teeth in, John, a detention centre like Florida's Alligator Alcatraz? I noticed the mainstream press, they did a bit on this yesterday and then they've dropped it. They would much rather talk about the controlled agenda. So today it was all about, it's a personal issue and she's not going to talk about it. And Starmer said, I can't talk about personal issues. She cried. She made us the laughing stock of the world. And then the media, the mainstream media, the lamestream, they go along with this agenda that Starmer's pushing. So we don't ever get any change. And we need change. I'm going to stop soon, so if you want to comment, get in now, please. Right, let's take some more views now. Alison says, how does France get away with putting them in tents, etc., when we're told we can't because of the EU? So we are out of the EU. France is in, but they can do it. Explain that, please, our politicians. Well, it's because we always play by the rule, Alison. The French don't. Nor do the Irish, but the Irish have got their own problems now in the Republic I'm talking about. This is a problem that's happening all over Europe. It's the same when I went to Italy. We can't just have no borders. We just can't. But our politicians, they seem, well, you're right. Why is it going on if we're out of the EU? I don't know. Because we're still linked with the ECHR, which I say we'll have to get out of. Scrap it. We should have our own version of human rights. Because actually the core of protecting people's human rights is very right, is correct. But it's been used and abused. Are you with me or against me? They are all operating call centres at the hotels. See Yorkshire Roads. I don't know whether that's true, but if you've got any more information on it, Johnny Boy, on YouTube, let me know. I'd like to look into that. Graham Hatton, big listener. He's on Facebook today. I don't really see an end to any of this while we're giving out the kind of incentives we are at the moment. They need to realise they'll get nothing but a tent and a bar of soap if they rock up on our shores. Well, to be honest, Graham, that's effectively what I'm saying, isn't it? I'm saying get them out of the hotels, put them into tents, warehouses, but make sure we video that. They've all got a brand new mobile phone. And also, no identity, no passport. Bye. We need to be getting Stelios at EasyJet to take them straight home or from the last country they've come to. And then we say to France, what are you going to do about it? Because at the moment, France are just taking the mickey. They're just waving them off. You've seen the TV pictures. David Allison says, defy the ECHR? What would the consequences be? Repelling the illegals would be so easy with the right man in charge. David, you're being sarky and I like it. You're right. If we just suddenly said we've left the ECHR, what are they going to do? And, oh, by the way, Donald Trump's backing us because we're going to do what he's done with migration. Can you imagine that bunch of, what did he call them? The cooperation, no, not the cooperation. The collective of the willing, yeah? Coalition. Coalitions are useless, right? What's Macron going to do? What are they going to do? There's only one decent leader in Italy, is that woman, Meloni, in Italy. Europe haven't got a chance of standing up to us. They just have to accept it, which is what Trump did when he came to, I know he's America, but when he came into power, he said, You will start paying for NATO. What's happened? They're paying for NATO. We're just too weak. So, David, I think I'm in total agreement with you. Thank you for bringing it up. Let's just leave. Why can't politicians grow balls and do something? It's ludicrous the way we're being treated. Simon Osborne says, Alison Cornwall, because you foolishly believed the EU controlled your laws. This is on Facebook. This is why she said, why are we still doing what the EU want? You believed Farage, etc. You could always control your borders. Well, careful. No, you couldn't. Because of the ECHR, you couldn't. But anyway. Craig Mawson says, Johnny boy, I didn't know that. Are you having conversations with each other now? Try and come through the chair if you could. Sue Jane Parkinson on Facebook says, I watched a clip today. Several men in a really nice hotel on their laptops and phones covering their faces when addressed by the filmmaker. They're living a very nice life. Then security escorted him out like he was breaking the law. Yeah, there's that guy who keeps going into the hotels, isn't it? And then they call the police on him. I've seen that, Sue. I've seen it too. He ends up being a criminal. Well, there's a surprise in modern Britain. Disgusting. Slapping a bird's bottom on YouTube. I wonder when our betters will decide the UK has reached peak diversity. 50% British, 40% British, 10% British. It's a decent question. It's a decent question. You see, because that's the other thing. Anybody who comes into our country, they should fit in. I don't mean they have to give up their religion, but, they should learn the language. And don't bring up the Spanish thing. I think the people who go to Spain and don't learn it are just as bad, right? But it's ludicrous. We're being too soft. Oh, here's Simon Osborne's back on. Asylum seekers aren't illegal. Ugh. You can't argue the point if you don't know the basics of immigration law. They're illegal because they've come into the country without permission. You're just trying to pontificate on that term, illegal and legal. I know that in technical terms, they're not illegal until their asylum claim has been denied. But there's about 15 appeals, isn't there? I'm saying we change that. I'm saying we do that to that and that to the ECHR, Simon Osborne. It's liberals like you who have caused the problem in the first place. Thank you for your comments. Jan Haggerty's back. When you have a government that know they'll stay in power, if the Muslims outnumber the British, you're fighting a losing battle. I'm not sure I totally agree, but I understand where you're coming from. They definitely play to that block vote, and that's wrong. That is fundamentally wrong. I mean, one way of solving that is we have to get rid of postal voting. The only people who should be allowed to vote by post are the armed services, if they were abroad at the time, people with severe disabilities. That's all. Everybody else, get off your fat, lardy asses and get to the polling station. Otherwise, it's corruptible. Simon Osborne, these are not asylum seekers. If they are, where are the women and children? Oh, you won't like that. He won't like that. They don't like it up them. Thank you for your comment. I think you're on the ball myself. Hi, John. France. What's this one going to say? Hi, John. France want to take our money without doing anything to stop the immigrants. Stop them. You're right. It's a disgrace. They've been taking millions they've been taking off us. And they do sweet FA. They just wave. Bye. Bye. England's that way. You'll see the gold pavements as you pull into Dover. Well, you won't pull into Dover because, look, just outside Dover, here's the RNLI. Here's border control. They're picking you up and putting you in a nicer boat for when you arrive. Then they're going to put you on a nice coach. And you're all going to get new clothes and loads of food and go to a hotel with a squeezy soap. It's a life of luxury in soft touch Britain. Ronnie Hurst, what are you saying, my friend? The government is selling us down the road. Well, that's stating the bloody obvious, isn't it? But you're right. Lisa Carvel, France won't help. They don't want them either. That's what I'm saying. Ignore France. Ignore Europe. Starmer will never leave the ECHR whilst you've got a hole in your underpants, Gaunty. Also, once they're processed, they get to stay anyway. You're right. Once they start going through the process, they always win. It's like a fruit machine that's faulty. Or, the cash machine, when you go, it's never happened this to me. You go to the cash machine, it suddenly gives you 500 quid instead of 50. You tell all your mates and you empty the bloody thing. That's what it's like if you're an asylum seeker. Once you get over that first hurdle, and they know that. I'm not saying don't take any. If you listen to what I'm saying, I'm just saying, if I was fleeing persecution, which we're led to believe most of them are, which is bullshit, but if I was, I'd like to stay in an old IKEA store, an old shopping centre, and have a nice bed, 3 meals a day. That'd do me till I got on my feet. Why wouldn't it do for them? I said this before about putting them in army tents. Good enough for our boys. Good enough for them. Ronnie Hurst says they are illegal. They're broken into our country. Absolutely. There's no point in building more processing centres if then all we're going to do is accept them all. That's a very good point. And that is the problem. We are getting too many people in. Paul Smith Fox, there's something wrong with your computer, mate. You moaned the other day. All I get is buffering, but I get the gist. What sort of computer are you on? What server are you on? Because nobody else is getting the problems that you say. Yes, build Alligator Alcatraz. We are now in a state of emergency, and we need emergency measures to stop the invasion. It all seems a bit unreal, what is happening to our country. Well said, Paul. Paul, seriously, have a look at your computer, because I'm pretty sure, because this software system now is pretty bang on. I did lose the internet yesterday afternoon at one point, but it's been great. So I think it's your computer, or you've not got your settings right. If anyone can help Paul Smith Fox, can you do so, please? Good afternoon. What's on the agenda? More frigging migrants. Are you having a go? You can set the agenda if you want, or if you're that right, why don't you make up your own podcast? Ronnie says, if this government treat our people better, if we had more money, we'd have more kids. Yeah, that's one of the things that's driving this. That's not a bad point, actually. 27 likes. That's brilliant. But not one donation today. Come on. Get your hands in your wallet. Send Gaunty a few quid. You can do it. Press that little $sign for me if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening on a podcast, go to www.buymeacoffee.com and you can buy me a coffee, or you can buy me a beer, whatever you fancy. Starmer has the reactions of a slug in a salt pot. He's like a robot. He relies on spin and lies to stay in power, and it's tedious. Now that's good. Look, Ian Purvis says, me, and a smiley face. Yes, it was you, Ian. I'm sorry. Your name just went completely. I did thank you on Twitter for your donation of 15 quid. It was very generous of you. I'll put you on the list. And I know you've donated before, and I know you're a regular listener. So I want to say thank you very much. I tell you what I do want to do, just before I move on. I do want to just say something to you. I've got a feeling Rachel Thieves is going to get the bullet in the next day or two. I think it'll be some sort of family issue. I actually think it might be, when they're saying it was personal, there might be truth in that. But I'm going to talk about this later. But in essence, I think we have an absolute right to know. She's second in charge of the country. We have an absolute right to know. So I'm not going to be satisfied, it's personal and she's leaving. Maybe one of her kids is in trouble. I don't know. But I think we have a right to know. And I think she'll go. He won't have to sack her now. He didn't back her yesterday, did he? And he's now saying he works in lockstep. But you didn't notice she was crying. She wasn't just crying. She was sobbing. I watched it live. And we've had all the uber media liberals, even the ones who pretend they're tough and they're on the right, saying, it was a human tragedy. It was this, it was that. What? She's the chancellor. And I did put up a tweet. I didn't get much traction on this one. I said, aren't they being a bit sexist? Because if Rachel Reeves was a bloke and he went, they don't look at it the other way around. They always look at it from one angle, yeah? Misogyny normally. If you look at it from another angle, if she was a bloke and she started crying as the chancellor, we'd all slaughter him, wouldn't we? Yeah, get yourself together. What are you? But no, we've all got to be kind. Why? How kind was she to the old age pensioners with the winter fuel allowance, even when she was told 4,000 people might die? How kind has she been to the farmers? How kind has she been to the students? Don't give me this how kind. And also, because of mental health is the new backache, we've got a situation where it could happen to any of us. I heard some Burke say that today. We all have bad days. Well, yes, we do, myself included. I nearly died of bloody sepsis. But I've now, after a time, got myself together and I'm trying to make a living again. But this idea that we should show great sympathy, it's absolute bullshit. She's crying yesterday. She's cost us billions as a country. And we're meant to go, oh, poor old Rach. And then she comes back today. I was going to use all this later, but I will anyway. She comes back today and she's, oh, yeah, that was yesterday. It was just a bad day at the office. A bad day at the office when you nearly wreck the economy. You're worse than Liz, the lettuce trust woman. If you can't stand the heat, this will get me into trouble, get out of the kitchen or get back in the kitchen, say I. I don't mind you being a woman and being the Chancellor, but we're not going to start playing by different rules, are we? Are we? Is that what we're going to do? I don't think so. Do what Denmark has done. Put them in tents and just give them basics. They'll soon leave. Yeah, it's worked for Denmark. You are absolutely correct. Peter Mills says, great to hear you on form, John. Great show. Thank you, Pete. On Facebook. I think he's just found me again. That's very good of you. What's this one saying? You can't even enjoy a nice sunny day anymore because in the back of your mind, it probably means another 1,000 have just come over. They even took that employment from us. Actually, that's a funny line, but it is true. When it's sunny, I got up this morning and I thought, oh, yeah, there's another 500 coming in that we've got to pay for. It's just unbelievable. Jan Heckerty's picking up on what I just said about Rachel. It says, cried yesterday, but all smiles today. It couldn't have been that devastating news. Exclamation mark. Labour equals cover up after cover up after cover up. Jan, you can stand in for me when I'm on holiday because that's brilliant. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. She got upset yesterday because I reckon someone had a go at her before she came in. I think Starmer's had a go at her saying, pull your socks up or I'm going to blame you. I'm going to get rid of you. And she's pulled out the mental health card, isn't she? By the look of it. Am I being nasty? You feel free to say I'm being nasty if you want. I know one of them boat people. The hustling our nurse and one of them in hospital. She's fighting for her life. That doesn't make sense. So if you want to rewrite it and send it again, I'll by all means read it out. Oh, Dave Whiteman, he's chucked in £1. Thank you, Dave. Whatever you can afford, it all helps. Thank you, my friend, Dave Whiteman. He's done that on YouTube. Just press the little $sign. Macron hates us, so we'll do as little as possible to help us. You're right. The left and Antifa being paid to demonstrate. That's been said often, my friend. You've said it twice. Right, okay. I'll tell you what, I'm going to have to stop because there's loads more comments coming in. And actually, I've got to get back down the allotment today. Where are we? Does anyone know the reason why Starmer is doing this? Surely he knows the country is being destroyed. And how long will it carry on for? Well, it'll carry on for as long as he's in power, which is why I'm kind of saying I don't think he'll last. But we have to be ready. John, do you know how this deal Starmer did with Macron? I wonder if Starmer and Macron is on the take to take in more illegals. I'm sure they're not because I don't want to get sued. But yeah, their deal, 1 in, 1 out. It's just nonsense. 1 in, 1 out means it's the same amount in. We've got 50,000 that we don't want here already. Yeah, and they're just the ones in the hotels. Put them into Alcatraz. Are you with me or against me? Stephen Wilson, if she leaves, it's forever riches and a nice pile in Davos. This has been going on for centuries, says Stephen Wilson. Steve, it's a very, very good point. It's a very, very good point. Thank you for making it. John, sad to hear about the Liverpool state striker, Diego, died in a car crash. Love and prayers to the family. Rest in peace. You're right. I don't know the player myself, but I saw that on the telly in a Lamborghini. him and his brother. That was terrible for the family, the two of them. And he only got married a few days ago, didn't he? He's got 3 little kids, married his childhood sweetheart, doing well at Liverpool. Used to play for the Wolves, I believe. It's all gone. Yeah. Puts everything else in perspective, really. Was it Craig Mawson? He says, question for that Simon. If they're not illegal, why do they throw their passports away and get in a dinghy? Good point. Good point. He won't have an answer for that. One nurse in West Norfolk, nurse who got hurt by the boat people. Thank you, Peter. I don't know about that. I'll have a look into that story. And Craig says, John, if I was fleeing war, I'd be with my girlfriend and my kids. Do you know what? That's a good point, isn't it? If they're really fleeing persecution, I wouldn't leave my kids behind. Or my missus. Would you? But I don't really want to focus and pick on the illegal immigrants. Because I'm sure there's some good people there. I'm positive the majority of them are. But we simply haven't got enough room for all of them. And we simply can't carry on paying 8 million a day. We can't. So some politician at some point is going to have to get tough, especially if they want to get elected. And if Starmer thinks he can do smoke and mirrors and get elected by suddenly talking tough, the thing is you've got to be consistent, Starmer. He made that speech. The only speech that people agreed with him about was the one that sounded like Enoch Powell. Enoch Powell Light, I think I called it. And now he's saying, no, I didn't mean that. I hadn't read it. I hadn't read the speech. I hadn't read my speech in advance. And the bloke who wrote it didn't understand the echoes. Oh, where's that bus? Let's throw somebody in there. He throws everybody into the bus. He was going to throw her, the crybaby, under the bus yesterday, wasn't he? Threw his own son under the bus. The man is just terrible. So they will start going for this vote about the migrants. This is why Nigel Farage has got to get his act together and get more people in the party. And that's why this Ben Habib and the other idiot, Rupert Lowe, arguing on the sidelines. What's the point? Come together to get our country back. Surely that's what you have to do. Just my views. But I think, and I'm only using the term Alcatraz, I don't even want it to be as high security as that one. We haven't got any alligators. But no, seriously, I'm just saying we've got to try not to encourage people. And then when they do get here, treat them fairly, find out if they can stay and if not. But if we did this overnight, the numbers would drop. They would drop massively. If you suddenly put up videos saying, look, this is where you're going. I'll put some videos up of move them all out of the hotels. Just move them all out of the hotels and video it. Put them up in little 15, 20-second clips all over YouTube, all over Facebook. Then they're going to go, oh, I ain't going to England anymore. There was some on the telly last night who had been booted out of Italy. Then they go, oh, I'll tell you what, let's go to England. Let's go to England. So they just look for the next boat to England. It can't go on. That's me finished. I'll probably be back at 6:30 talk about Rachel Reeves. We'll see how it develops this afternoon. If not, I will do one tomorrow. I don't normally do them on Friday, but I will do one tomorrow because I've got nothing better to do, have I, apart from the allotment, which is where I'm going to go to in a minute. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for listening. Please tell all your friends about it. That's the most important thing to do. Tweet it out. Let other people know. And also, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jon Gaunt TV. It's completely free. There's no catch. It just means then you'll see all my videos and you'll be able to get all my podcasts. Thanks for helping me make it work. Really appreciate it. And thanks for coming on in the afternoon because, as I say, normally I do them at 6:30. So I'll probably see you later. If not, speak to you soon. All the best. You have been listening to the Jon Gaunt Show. Jon Gaunt TV. If you've got kids, give them a kiss. Give them a hug. And don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.